Learn to persevere with these 7 inspiring examples from the Holy Bible. Perseverance is not giving up. The Bible doesn't promise a life of instant success. Often, the path to victory is long and challenging, but Jesus helps us stay faithful. And we have this promise: those who persevere will receive the reward God has prepared. See how these 7 people in the Bible persevered and triumphed. Joshua was born a slave in Egypt, experiencing the liberation of his people under Moses' leadership at the age of 40. He then had to wait another 40 years to enter the Promised Land due to the sins of other Israelites. Yet, throughout his time in Egypt and later in the desert, Joshua didn't give up on following God. Hannah. Despite being barren, Hannah desperately wanted a child. Year after year, she prayed for a child with great sorrow, receiving no answer. Nevertheless, Hannah didn't abandon her faith or reject God. She continued to ask, putting all her trust in God. Eventually, she made a vow in the temple, and God blessed her with a son, Samuel, who became a great prophet in Israel. Job, called blameless by God, served him wholeheartedly in good and bad times. Despite losing his family, wealth, and health, Job persevered. In his suffering, he questioned many things but never stopped believing in God. Job's perseverance in faith led to God restoring his health, increasing his wealth, and blessing him with more descendants. Jeremiah. Few prophets suffered as much as Jeremiah. For faithfully preaching God's message, he was considered a traitor, despised, beaten, and imprisoned by his own people. Despite facing depression and the desire to die, Jeremiah continued to obey God. Yet perseverance doesn't always mean constant happiness, but Jeremiah endured and overcame all difficulties. Nehemiah took on the enormous challenge of rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem. Despite threats, conflicts, and advice to flee for his safety, Nehemiah persevered. Thanks to his leadership, the city walls were rebuilt and the people of Jerusalem were revitalized. Paul, a successful missionary, endured significant suffering. Wherever he preached, he made enemies, faced attacks, imprisonment, false accusations, and even attempts on his life. Despite the hardships, Paul's love for Jesus and others helped him persevere. His perseverance led to founding many churches and writing half of the New Testament. Jesus is the ultimate example of perseverance. He faced temptations and suffered greatly during his time on earth. Rejected by those he came to save, he endured opposition as the Son of God. Yet, Jesus didn't give up on us. For the love of the Father and us, he persevered to the end, even enduring the worst humiliation and torture, death on the cross. Because of his perseverance, we all have access to God and salvation. When you feel discouraged and blessings seem delayed, don't give up. Persevere until the end, and you will have victory in Jesus. Take